So I'm going to give you two pieces of advice. Number one is you really need to show and you really need to mean that you get it, that you understand it. I get that something really bad happened to you, but understand why it happened. Second, please don't make a statement, make a difference. My students know I say this all the time and I mean it so much. I actually want you to be successful. But the only way you do so is not by trying to own people or embarrass them or use language to insult them or drive them apart. You should be bear hugging them. You should be pulling them to your side, not pushing them away. Love them more than they love each other. Respect them more than they respect themselves. And watch how many people will listen to you and learn from you, and their ideas may change.
I spend a lot of time hearing what isn't said and reading what people say non-verbally. When I saw you talking about your experiences on campus, both sides, you articulating what you were saying and what you were reading and on the screenshots, I felt a lot of pain being experienced. I think anytime I see anger, I see hurt, fear, and frustration. If you look past the anger, behind it is hurt, fear, and frustration. I believe in the principle of reciprocity. You get what you give. What you put out in the universe is what comes back. If you look within yourself and give away what you need the most, you'll be amazed how fast you fill yourself up. If you feel marginalized on campus or you feel attacked, reach out to somebody that you know has got to be feeling that way. Like when he was being attacked, for example, if somebody had gone and say, man, this must really suck for you, and I'm sorry about that. I know you're a human being, and I love you as a human being. I promise you would have gone home feeling better that day. Give away what you need the most, and it fills you up, which kind of goes back to what I was having you do when I was having you look in each other's eyes. The second piece of advice is I really do believe that the job of every one of you in this room is to star in your own life. And you got to ask yourself what kind of star you want to be. Is it inspirational or is it aggressive? What kind of star do you want to be in your own life? I'm so impressed that all of you came here tonight to do this. It just blows my mind that you give a shit enough about this life, this world, where we are right now, that you came here tonight just to talk about this and express yourselves and hear each other. I'm like, holy shit. I'm so impressed. I would not have done this at your age. I just didn't give a shit. My dad died when I was 42. And at that time, I was doing pretty good. But my dad, I was born, lived, and he died without ever telling me he was proud of me one time in my whole life, ever. Graduated number one in my class, went to school on a football scholarship, but I figured out sometimes you got to give yourself what you wish you could get from somebody else. And so I decided I got to star in my own life. And I hope all of y'all do that and decide what kind of star you want to be.
I just wanted to sort of like make a statement or ask an appeal as a way of making a step towards bridging, I guess, the political divide on campus with a thing that was talked about screenshots in a group chat. Um, Currently, of that member, we've talked to him. He's scared for his life because he said something that he believed was in a private group chat. I think a great step forward in showing trust in both sides is our member and your member would like to meet and talk it out personally and try to resolve it. I think that'd be a great step forward in just sort of resolving a conflict that shouldn't be such big of an issue that it's become.
That specific member who made the most atrocious comments, I knew him personally. Like, we weren't necessarily friends, but like we would say hi to each other on campus. I will not talk to him. There's like bridging gaps and everything, but I also know that I don't owe him anything. Like the things that he said no one should ever have to hear or read those things ever. So he does not owe me talking to him, and I will not talk to him.
I've been doing this for 45 years, and I never put an abuser and their victim together unless the victim asked for that. It sounds like you were abused in some way by this person, but I would really encourage you to forgive him for yourself. You have to let it go for you. You don't have to tell him you've let it go, because if not, you and this person, whoever it is and whatever he said, you and he are locked in a bond forever unless you decide, I'm unwilling to invest any more energy in you ever, not one whit. I'm out. Or you're going to stay locked in a bond. And I hope you get to the point where you can do that.
And I'm going to challenge you. You tell your friend that he has to earn and deserve her and their acceptance of his apology. He actually has to come on bended knee and say, I was an idiot. What I did was wrong. So I was waiting for you to say, not only does he feel awful, but he will do something positively to make a difference in their lives. Go write an article where you acknowledge to the community that you made a mistake. And until he's willing to give that additional commitment, they don't owe him anything.
And I'm not saying what she should do with him. I'm just being selfish on your behalf. And whatever he does or doesn't do, you need to take your power back and set yourself free. Rise above this. If he does the right thing, great. If he doesn't, too bad. You need to let yourself go and take your power back.
These are the words that influence people. The most powerful word in the English language is the word imagine. When you ask people to imagine life at perfection, every one of you has a different dream. Every one of you has a different visualization. And every one of you is correct. Restoring human dignity is brand new. And it's more of a word on this side than it is this side. And I will tell you all, start using it because it's a word that they appreciate, because it means something to them. It means genuine respect. By the way, stop with this diversity. I say this to you all. You realize that diversity to you means something completely different to them. This is your lexicon, y'all. It works for everyone. Don't just say things because it sounds good to you. Say things that actually have an impact.
I guess my question is, how do you make an impact on people that are reluctant to hear what you have to say? And how can you actually have a conversation with people that care more about winning an argument than solving a problem?
I'm not going to have an argument with someone who has stopped listening. That's a waste of time. I want to know what your issues are. I want to know what your priorities are. Maybe I'll try to move you. Maybe I won't. But it begins with knowing what's on your mind and really knowing what's in your heart. And if I don't know that, I cannot be effective.
For me, it's finding out what their currency is. Even a 2-year-old kid, they've got a currency. It may be their little lovey blanket. Everybody has a currency, and if you'll listen, they'll tell you what's urgently relevant to them. Some people talk in feeling terms, and if you'll really see it through their eyes and meet them where they are, then you can really get across. And I learned a long time ago to quit telling people they need help. I started telling them what they deserve, and that made a big difference.
Well, first of all, thank you both for just engaging in this conversation. I think it's really great that so many people are here, and it seems like it's the loudest voices on campus. But I think about the silent middle. I think about just the people who maybe don't feel comfortable or like confident enough to engage in the space. Sometimes I was just like, why aren't we talking as much policy? Like, why, like, it went to character so fast. And I think this exercise was like really cool in terms of just like being able to look people in the eye and say I trusted them. But how do we move from a space where we can get more people to engage? Because that's how change is going to happen. It's not going to keep happening if it's just us.
Feel safe. You got to make them feel safe to do it. And that means meeting them where they are instead of asking them to meet you where you are. Or ask them what's important to them. Listen, 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 and bring them along.
And you got to be curious and let them know that you really want to understand them. If I want to engage people from the UK, I know that I have to make fun of the US. So the way that I do a focus group is I begin with, tell me the thing you hate most about America. And they feel so bad when they're done trashing America that for the rest of it, they want to tell me what I'm asking for. Humility goes so much farther than pride.
I think it's interesting that a lot of what we talked about has kind of like stemmed from issues of social media, the internet, like that seems to be a problem. But I'm curious because you talk about how our generation, we have so much information like readily available. We can make friends with anyone on the other side of the world. You talk about cyberbullying. Where's the balance? Like how much trust do we really have to put in social media, or is it more of a problem that prevents us from doing things like this?
Well, I just finished the 20th season of my show, and when I started it, there wasn't any Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, none of that existed. I think it's a trade-off that I think is coming at a very high price in terms of interpersonal skills. I'm really worried about it. You know, they call it WWW, the World Wide Web. I think it's the wild, wild web. I think the fact that it's so unregulated, and people think I read it on the internet, so it's got to be true. Bullshit. It's not true.
People trust the web more than they trust their own doctor.
Yeah.
That's when you know you got a problem. The people who are not vaccinated right now, and it's still more than 20% of America, the number one source of information for them is the web. And 83% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
That's right. And this was part of the 17%.
Based on what you have seen here today, do you feel that there's actual hope for bridging that gap between us? Do you have hope for our generation? Because I know you don't, but one day I really hope you will.
I have more hope because of this conversation. Some of you are bright as hell, and I want you in my class. I'm listening to how you're putting forward your arguments and the stuff that you know. For those of you who sat here and did not participate, I don't know why. Because you're not going to make things better unless you get involved. The tension back and forth is unnecessary. Cut it out for those of you who are participating in it. But I think you're getting a good education. I hope so. And it really is a privilege to be able to do this. And you have no idea how great it is to sit next to him.
Well, just know I'm more optimistic than he is, and know that I'm working on him. And I got to tell you, he's moving a little bit. Like I said, I hear what isn't said, and I think there've been a lot of people that didn't comment that have really been processing a lot of what's going on tonight. And I think the fact that they're here is participating. I really commend those that are here, even if you didn't talk tonight. That's a lot of effort to be here on a Friday night. Come listen to a couple of old guys talking. I mean, that's pretty good. So I give everybody credit for being here. And I am optimistic about this generation. I'm more optimistic after tonight than I was before I got here, and I was optimistic before I got here.